Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, MrBooMStickXL. And on today's show, it is stacked with some hot button topics. But in order to break all of that down, I needed to get a group of guests that know a thing or two about gaming. And first up, making his first appearance on the show, a guy who bleeds green. He's also the host of Planet Xbox and a panel member of the Weapon Wheel. Kid Smooth, welcome, dude. Thanks so much for hanging out.
Thanks, Mr. Boomstick, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Looking forward to the topics today. Awesome. And looking forward to meeting everybody else, all the other panel members that are here today, too. So, thank you.
Dude. Yeah, well, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I love getting new people on the show because, not only do you get exposure, but, I think the community is always interested in meeting new people. And speaking of new people, the next person that is also a first-timer on the Breakfast with Boom show and the newest member of the Shop podcast, which is hosted by PTK, Zolker87. What's going on, dude? Thank you so much. I know where you are. It is ridiculous early, so I really appreciate you showing up today.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Thanks for having me on, Boom. It is pretty early. I don't even think God is up right now where I'm at. But it's all good, man. To be on your podcast is worth it. Trust me.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. And next, my brother from another mother, moderator of the universe, showrunner of the Dazcast, and team member of Retro Renegades, my very good friend, UK Dazarus. What's going on, dude? Thank you so much for hanging out.
Well, it's up, Boom. Pleasure to be on the show as always. Can't wait for the topics. Yeah, I'm pretty knackered, everyone. I've been tarmacking all day, so if I don't make no sense, that's why. That's my excuse.
Listen, you always make sense to me, dude, so thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, cool. I'll be moderating the chat on my phone as well. So,
Awesome. No, thank you for that. It's great. That's greatly appreciated. Trust me, after what happened yesterday in the Dragon X podcast.
Oh, that was rightful stuff.
We need the Dazinator to come out on these and moderate. But next up, making his second appearance on the show, and I gotta say, he's one of my favorite new people that I found recently. He's also a proud member of the Scumcast and a gamer who tells it like it is. Gaming Forte, what's up, dude? Thank you so much for hanging out.
Yo, Boom, really appreciate it. As soon as I got the invite from you, man, I was all over it because I love hanging out with you, gaming with you, especially with the crew we got today. It's going to be a good one.
Oh, I appreciate that very much. And last, but certainly not least, my Italian brother and the man who's always looking for the best calzones in Florida and doesn't really find them there because the water sucks. And and he's also the showrunner of the incredible Four Guys with Quarters. My very good friend, the Italian Clowns. What's going on, dude? I appreciate you got a lot of stuff going on in your life. You're moving today and you still made the show. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Hey, what's up, Boom? Always a pleasure to be here. I wouldn't miss it for the world. This is one of my favorite podcasts and I get to meet new people. So I'm happy to be here, man.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. So we're going to go right into the first topic, and I think it's a good one, and it's one that we're going to probably discuss for a little bit. Crystal Dynamics has announced a new studio called Crystal Northwest to assist in the Avengers project that they're currently working on with Marvel Studios. Now, the new studio in Seattle is officially up and running as of Tuesday, and it is a full-fledged extension of Crystal Dynamics. It's dedicated initially to technology and development, but it's going to deliver more expertise to, with the huge amount of veterans that they've added. And who they are, Chad Queen and James Lowe are running the new studio. Now, here's the thing. There's a site, there's a YouTube channel called the Comic Book Cast. And even though they don't need my help because they're sitting under 500,000 subs, they are my go-to site when it comes to Marvel. They know, they're a fantastic podcast. They do individual videos. It's really always the best info you can find when it comes to comic books, comic book related stuff. And according to one of their inside sources, this project, which is the Avengers project, is supposed to be exactly like the Ultimate Alliance games. Now, the only reason why it's not called Ultimate Alliance 3 or something different is because those rights are held by Activision. So as it stands right now, there are 50 playable characters, and added to the mix, thanks to the Marvel Fox deal going through, all of the Fantastic Four heroes, as well as their villains, and all of the X-Men have been added. That's why there's been a bit of a delay, because they were waiting to see if they can add all of those characters. Kid Smooth, I want to go to you first, dude. Are you excited for the Avengers project, and is this a big deal for Crystal Dynamics, who opened up a second studio to assist?
It's a big deal. I mean, it shows that they're very dedicated. And I mean, if you get an IP like that, you definitely want to take that serious. You see what Sony is doing with like Spider-Man.
Yep.
I hope that like inspires them to like, all right, like they ain't the only ones that can do this. We could like do something big since we got everybody. But then again, that's when I wasn't a super fan of like the Ultimate Alliance game. So I think it would take a lot to convince me like, yo, this is the real deal. If it's going to be another one of those games, it's like, well, what are they going to do different? I mean, I don't want it to be a 2019 version of those games. Like, you know what I mean? So, and I like Crystal Dynamics for their, obviously their Tomb Raider games and stuff that they've done in the past. So I think I need a lot to see. But the popularity of the Avengers in the last 10 years has only grown like a whole lot. So I know they're happy, and with Crystal Dynamics and then Square Enix would be doing the publishing, right?
Yes.
I'm just curious to see in comparison, how are they going to do it? Are they going to go all out like how it appears that Sony and Insomniac's doing with Spider-Man, or is this because Square Enix, to me, I mean, they're not one of my favorite publishers at all, and I mean, they've put out many of games and whatnot, but with a project like this, I feel like you really want to take advantage of it and do what's best for the IP, the brand. This is going to be a multi-plat, right?
Yes.
So I just want to see what I just hope. I don't want an average game, and I don't want an ultimate. When you said the Ultimate Alliance game, I was like, holy, it made me step back a little bit. So I mean, I really don't want that. But if they're going to do it, I mean, how big of a deal is it going to be?
I don't know. I mean, 50 characters, and they're going to have added DLC where they're going to add different, from the notes that I was able to take a look at, and based on the reports from Comic Book Cast, not only is the game going to be huge, and there's going to be a tremendous roster of characters, but there's also going to be DLC in the form of Civil War and Secret Wars and Secret Invasion. So to think that we're going to get a game this big, and have the possibility of having some of Marvel's most epic, comic runs involved, I'm excited. I want to go to UK Dazarus next, brother. I mean, this information is exciting on two fronts for me. One, Crystal Dynamics is expanding. I really like their work, but more importantly, I'm a big Marvel guy, and Marvel is the hottest thing since sliced bread right now. Do you think that the added help could make this game something very memorable?
Indeed, I think it might make it, you could say, one of the ultimate fighters out there. 50 plus characters. Wow, that gives me an excuse to enter a lot of people into the FYQ club. Boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. Plus, hoping for a good story mode in it as well. You know
yes. I mean? Yep.
So, yeah, can't wait to see what happens with it.
Okay, awesome. Listen, I want to go to Zalker. You next, brother. The information that I threw out there today, I mean, it's a lot to unpack in an opening to the show, but I'm super excited because, like I said, I've already seen Infinity War 5 times. I'm fixed to watch it again. I just can't get enough of everything that Marvel does. And, we have a few big movies coming out in 2019. If this hits right, this could be a big deal for gaming, because the reality is that there haven't been a lot of really good superhero games. Well, what do you think about this?
Well, to be honest, this is actually a pretty big topic for me personally, because in order for this game to actually exist and survive, another one had to die. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Marvel Heroes Omega.
Yep, I played it.
Yeah. So I have like 300 hours in that on Steam, and I freaking loved the game, and it was amazing. And last year it shut down, and specifically it seems like for this game to thrive. And the people that they're bringing on from Crystal Dynamics and hiring for the new Northwest studio it's a lot of talent. I mean, they're bringing people like a creative director from Uncharted, the lead combat designer from God of War.
Yep.
I mean, they we're talking about the initiative getting talent that's, that we're very excited about. Like, these guys hired just as much talent as they did, if not more. So the gaming industry is just booming with this. But as you were saying, Marvel is right now the top dog in pretty much everything going on. And as a comic fan, I'm a huge comic fan. I'm extremely excited to see what they do. If it's like the Alliance games, they're going to really need to wow me for getting rid of Marvel Heroes. So I'm a little bitter. I'm a little bitter from it because I really enjoyed that game. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it, but I really want to see what they're going to do, especially if they have competition from what Rocksteady's going to do.
Right. Yeah.
I want to see what their next superhero, because they're going to be kind of, if you look at the release window and the years of development, they're going to be kind of competing with each other, it seems. People.
Yeah, oh, sure. I mean, well, you have Spider-Man coming out. It's September 7th, right? That's a big deal. Obviously, that's a console exclusive. And then, for a while, everyone, I mean, I think anyone that's a gamer has been holding their breath to see what Rocksteady is doing. And supposedly, they're doing a Justice League game. So that's going to be a big deal. So, yeah, Marvel needs to Crystal Dynamics and Marvel Studios need to be as serious as they are with the MCU.
And they seem serious about it. I mean, they have their A team on this Marvel game. So I mean, that's because they didn't put the A team on the new Tomb Raider.
Yeah, put the B team on there, man.
they put the B team on the Tomb Raider game, but I mean, for them to put their A game, basically their A team on this, they need to hit it out of the park, because it sounds like they're putting a lot of money toward it. But I mean, and also it's a huge franchise. It's known, right? It's Marvel.
Right.
It's Avengers. Like, I mean, like you said, you watched Infinity War 5 times. I've watched it probably like 8 times. Like, I love it. It's just, they need to hit this out of the park, or a lot of people can be soured by it. It's a big risk, but we'll see what they do with it.
Well, listen, I'm excited, and I'm glad that you're excited, because like I said, the video game world needs good superhero games. We haven't had one in a very long time. I mean, we had Arkham, right? And I happen to really like the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games, but we haven't really had a lot. For Gaming Forte, I want to go to you next, dude. This talk of the Avengers project being such a big deal, and them holding back, showing it and possibly releasing it, waiting for the Fox Marvel deal to for the ink to dry so they can add all of the X-Men characters and all the Fantastic Four characters. Do you think that this has the potential to be something big in gaming?
It definitely has something. It has the potential to be very, very big just because of the IP itself. Right now, you can't get any bigger than what Marvel is doing over the last few years, and it looks like all of these companies, all the way down to Insomniac, they're all just doubling down on just the hype that these characters have. And the fact that they're bringing together such a talented team in a second studio really shows that they have a lot of confidence in what they're building over there, because you won't sink that much money into something if you don't have the confidence in doing it. So building that second studio is a really, really big step for them. The biggest thing for me is I really like the second Alliance game, not so much the first one. I really just take a wait and see approach when it comes to these games. Sometimes I'm super excited for it, but anything that has this much hype behind it, when it comes to like this type of IP, it's easy to get blinded by just your excitement for what it's going to be. We haven't even seen anything on it yet, but I am very much looking forward to the first thing that they put out for this game, because that will be the make or break for me to say, because I'm pretty much right now right at 70% saying this game is what I want it to be, but I just don't know exactly what that is yet.
Okay. I mean, listen, we don't really know anything, right? We haven't seen any screenshots. We haven't seen any, trailers. So it's been real hush hush. I really would like to see them release something, to the public. Clowns, I want to go to you last, dude. Listen, last year, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite came out. and unfortunately, I happen to love it from top to bottom, but a lot of people were pissed. And why was that? Because all of the X-Men characters had been removed due to the shenanigans that was going on with Fox. Now Marvel is officially, Disney's officially buying them. X-Men are back, and they're going to be back in a big way supposedly in this game. Do you think that this Avengers project has the potential to be as big as something like Arkham, the Arkham series for Marvel characters?
Boom, I think like everybody else on the panel said, they're bringing in some great talent. And I think with that talent comes, great responsibility. So as a huge Marvel fan myself, I'm pretty excited. I've never been a huge fan of Crystal Dynamics, though, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, the talent behind the game is what matters, and Disney's bringing it. So let's hopefully they take the gloves off and let them do what they want, and they put the Juggernaut in the game. And as long as Juggernaut's in there, I'm a huge fan.
Well, listen, I mean, who can, at this point in the game, 10 years later, almost 20 films, how could you not be a fan? You know what I'm saying? They've improved. Sure, they've had a few duds. The first two Thors, maybe not so great. Iron Man 3 made gazillions of dollars, but not one of the best ones. But they have been knocking it out of the park. And some of their recent ones, Black Panther, one of my top 5 films of all of them. Obviously Infinity War, what could you say other than, you're dying by the end of that movie because, no spoilers. Think Empire Strikes Back is all I'm going to say.
Best comic book movie ever made.
Yeah, you have no doubt about that. And then obviously Ant-Man and the Wasp. I don't know if anyone saw that. What a fantastic film. I mean, so Marvel has been knocking it out of the park. So I'm excited to see where they go. But you know what? I want to move into the next topic. And you know what? I try to be positive on my shows because I think positivity brings success. And but unfortunately in gaming, we're going to run across a few topics that may not be as positive as I would like them, but they still need to be discussed. And according to a recent report, Bethesda says the situation could be fairly dire if Sony disallows the Elder Scrolls Legends crossplay for the card game. Now, this statement comes directly from Pete Hines at Bethesda. I'm aware of the conflict that arises given the statement. Here's the question for the panel. Does the line in the sand that Bethesda drew make other developers stand up and take notice to the Sony putting their head in the sand when it comes to crossplay? I want to go to Gaming Forte first on this one. Obviously, Sony was in the news for the Fortnite shenanigans. And again, I know that this is just a card game, right? I understand that this is not, this is like Magic the Gathering, but on your, sitting on your couch and not in some card shop. But Bethesda is not a small studio, and Pete Hines is one of the biggest, mouthpieces in the industry. There's no doubt about that. So, what do you take away from his statement? And do you think that other developers may want to get in line and possibly hold back games from Sony's machine?
Okay, so this is something that I was really thinking of, especially when this news dropped, how it was actually, introduced to everybody. Like you said, it is just a card game. But the more I thought about it, it looks like they're taking a hard stance with just this game. But it also is like a litmus test to see if they're going to do it with future games in the future. Because the more we go down this line of games and services, you're going to need people to play these games. The longer a game is out, the less interest people get into it. So you want to get more people involved in the player pool, and that's where the whole cross-play, cross-save, cross-progression comes in at. So games like Fallout 76, if that game is to be as good as they want it to be, the population needs to be as big as it could possibly be. So I really think if they really hold to saying that, okay, it's just a card game right now, but what if this actually turns down the line to more of their games turning out to be this way, where they're saying, hey, we're going to hold this game off your platform if you do not support cross-play, cross-platform play. I think that's when developers and other entities are going to start taking notice to it. Because right now, it's just like you said, it's just a card game. But if they throw something like Fallout 76 in there, then that's going to be something completely different, because now you're talking about a major IP that Bethesda is saying, we don't need your 80 million people because we care more about the structure of how our game is going to play and how those people play together inside of that structure.
Yep.
And I think that's when you're going to see developers really take notice. Right now, I think they're just filling each other out. And I think if they make that type of bold move, you'll see other people follow along.
Nice. Listen, I just want to pay the bills real quick. A massive $20 super chat by Josette Rivera. Thank you for that. And another super chat from a good friend of the show, Jay Zayas. Thank you so much. These super chats do mean a lot to me, and they do help the channel grow. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. But Kid Smooth, I want to go to you next, dude, because you're a big Xbox supporter. I mean, you wear it on your shirt, you wear it on your sleeve. Heck, your avatar says Planet Xbox, right?
Nice.
Do you think that this move by Bethesda, even though it's a small one, it's a small line in the sand, it's still a statement, in my opinion? What do you think this, if you're a developer on the, and these developers talk, guys, come and listen, they're all friends. You know, everyone, you know, defends their plastic boxes, but at the end of the day, all of these devs and these console makers, behind the scenes, they're friends. They have drinks, they have dinner, their families know each other. Do you think that some of these developers might be talking with one another, saying, you know what, crossplay is the future, and Sony is not willing to, you know, usher it in? Should we take a stance too? Do you think that this is a possibility that this could backfire on Sony?
In the future, yes. It depends on how, you know, how many studios follow through, how many publishers follow along with this project. Even you got to even question Bethesda. Sure, they're doing this for a they're free to play game, you know, so it's not that big of a risk, you know.
Right.
It's actually a low risk at all to start with this. You know, maybe independent studios can follow up with it. Maybe, like, for example, if Fortnite wanted to say, you know what, forget it, we're discontinuing Fortnite on PlayStation because of it, that would be a statement. If EA followed through, because they definitely have the infrastructure to do it, it would be a hit. If 2K did it, it would be a hit. But the thing is, money talks, and as long as there's money coming in, regardless of the situation, they could talk for like consumer, just for like consumer clout. But at the end of the day, if they don't like do it, they don't take action, then to me, I'm not going to take it serious. Now, Bethesda, they're pretty big, and they moved to the drum of their own beat. So I was surprised because it was Bethesda. I was like, oh wow, they're serious about this. But you know what I really wanted them to do is do something with the Fallout. Like the Fallout 76 game is a major IP that's heavily focused on multiplayer. Yep. And this could have been like that first step, like, hey, we got this game here. We know what Fallout's gonna do. We know what's gonna sell. Move. This is what we're doing. You can either take it on your platform, or at least if they would have started, you know what, they could have just been like, you know what, we'll make it crossplay between Fallout. I don't know if anybody would want to do that though, between Xbox and PC. And maybe if they put it on the Switch, that could be an excuse. They could include them on and then leave PlayStation out of it and have them feel the heat that way. But I think what needs to happen, right? This is what needs to happen. It's not the crossplay that needs to be executed. It's the cross progression.
Yes,
that needs to be executed. If people like, you know, who can do cross progression that would definitely benefit all these 2K with all that money people are spending on like VC and their NBA 2K, NBA Live, Madden, this game like Fallout, all that stuff. Because the thing is, not only do you have to buy these games twice, you have to do the grind. If you wanted to keep up on both platforms, right? You got friends on PlayStation, you got friends on Xbox, but the thing is, like, damn, well, my character's built up on my Xbox version. I gotta go and do this on the PlayStation, like with Destiny. It's like, damn, I'm a level 50 or whatever on my Xbox, but then I gotta do this on the PlayStation to play with you guys. That's horrible. I hate that. It's the thing that sucks is, like, I'll tell you guys right now, I'm buying 2 copies of NBA Live, right? But my problem is, same thing with the last game, is that I play more on Xbox, so I'm likely going to be up to speed on my character. But when I got friends that want to play and like the custom parks and stuff like that, I have to start from scratch. Sure, I keep my character, but I have to do everything, get his stats up, get his clothes up, and it's a grind because live they don't make you pay for it, you have to work for it. So it's like, shit, if I could just log into my EA account and I could just, I'm playing on the PlayStation, but I'm just using everything that I earned already. It's like, that's what needs to happen. I don't care if they enable crossplay, but if they enable cross progression, that would be like the first step for shit to be done right. I apologize for the swear, but that would be like the first step in the right direction to get this thing clarified, because that is the biggest problem, is the fact that if you got to be careful on some of these games, if you start an account, if you open up your account and you start buying things and start investing, you're now trapped depending on what platform you're playing on. Like, and I don't think that's fair. Like, you should be able to free, and this is, I've been preaching this for a while. It's like, your stuff should always be able to move with you. I was like, why should you have to? It's like, if I have an account with EA, 2K, or Bethesda, whatever, if I'm tied to their account, why do I have to start from scratch using the same account on another console? It's like, that is horrible. Yeah. So it's a step because it's Bethesda. Bethesda is no little guy no more. You know,
nope. They're the real deal.
They're the real deal. So if they can, I don't know what's going to happen with EA. Does EA tease something, do something with like a small game, like, hey, you know, if you don't do this, then we're not going to put this game here. Does 2K follow suit with this? It's like they got to literally go and think independently. But if they're thinking like corporations, it's not going to happen.
I agree. Listen, another got to pay the bills once again. Jesse Darby with the $5 super chat. Thanks again, Jesse. I really appreciate all your support. He is always in the chat, and it is greatly appreciated. Daz, I want to go to you. Now, obviously, this is a bigger deal than just a list war, right? This is something that people like Kid Smooth and Gaming Forte, who have their own channels, have been preaching this for a while. It's something I've talked about. Crossplay important, cross progression even more important. For a guy like me, I play Destiny. I play the heck out of the Division, and having to do that twice is annoying as all hell. It's fun in the beginning, but when you've done one mission 8 times, it starts to get a little long in the tooth. Do you think that the industry as a whole needs to come together under one umbrella about cross-play, cross-progression?
Absolutely, yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, it's I'm a bit of a sucker for this because, as you know, I've got 2 gamer tags. I keep starting my games again, and it's starting to frustrate me as well. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's not on, and it's nice to see Sony have at it again with the crossplay as well. You know what I mean? The thing is, more devs that see this, the more devs are going to go to different platforms and leave Sony alone as well.
I mean, it definitely has the potential to people to think twice about buying a game on that console. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So well, yeah, they need to sort themselves out, to be honest with you.
No, I couldn't agree more, dude. Zolker, I want to go to you, dude, because we were talking about this pre-game. This is a big deal. And you know, it for me. I think we're on the cusp of something big, only because Bethesda isn't an indie developer. They are the real deal. They make a lot of money. They're making some of the most memorable games in years with you know, the revitalization of Doom, bringing back multiple versions of Castle Wolfenstein. You know, we obviously saw what happened at QuakeCon. You know, they showed off the new Doom, which looks ridiculous. So they are in the mix. And even though it's a free-to-play game, you know, every Blizzard starts with, you know, one snowflake, right? So them making a statement like this, do you think that this opens the eyes of other developers to maybe get in line and start talking about this?
I honestly believe that developers' eyes have already been open for a while. And I think they needed somebody like Bethesda to take a stance. And I know people are saying, oh, it's just a free-to-play card game, but they don't understand how profitable those games are. Hearthstone makes over 40 to 50 million per month for Blizzard. Jesus. So, and they have over 70 million users. And that's probably the most popular card game out there right now. Bethesda has the same amount of clout as these people. They have the same amount of pedigree because they're a huge developer that really has a lot of respect within the gaming community. And to say that they're going to keep this off of a platform because of crossplay and cross progression honestly makes me happy, because I can't, ever since Play Anywhere started on Xbox, I know a lot of people don't really use it, but I use it every single day.
Nice.
I use it with my friends. My friends play on PC. I play on Xbox. We play Sea of Thieves. If I had a grind to Pirate Legend again on PC, I don't know what I would do. I would throw my Xbox out the window. Like, it's just like I would just be so irritated. And to hear that they're making this big of a stand against Sony, really, because it really makes me happy, because they're not only making a stand against Sony, they're making a stand against Steam with Fallout 76. Like, Bethesda's doing a lot of things that are consumer friendly for the gamer. They don't really care. And Pete Hines really goes to war for his developers.
He does.
Like, he really wants his games to succeed. He respects the hard work that his developers put into games, and he tries to give them the best possible way to keep a job, to be honest, which is make the most amount of money for their games. And that's how you make the most amount of money, is when you have cross-play and cross-progression. Because if somebody plays the game on PlayStation and they can't play with anybody else, or they can't take their cards, their epic cards or whatever they get, like these rare cards that they unlock that they were on their phone or on their PC, and they can't use those again, are you kidding me? People are going to be so mad. And this just has to do with the Fortnite thing. Fortnite got, not only does Sony get backlash, but Fortnite got backlash too.
Yep, it sure did.
You think Bethesda didn't pay attention to that and saw that and was like, why would we deal with this drama when this is not even our fault? This is another platform choosing not to put our game into the most possible hands. Like, it's just anti-consumer, anti-gamer, and to be honest with you, anti-developer. So Bethesda making this stand really you're gonna see a lot of changes within the gaming industry in the next couple months to year. You're going to see a lot of people taking this kind of stand when Bethesda is going to keep going. Because I know people are like, oh, it's just a card game, but those things are extremely profitable. And they're going to see a lot of other games taking this stand against Sony. And they're going to have to change. They're going to have to adapt. And yeah, that's what I think, man.
Oh, well, listen, I mean, look, change is good. This is the industry as a whole, when it comes to new ideology, has been stagnant for a while, and cross progression, I think, is the next big step. I think it's something that should have happened already. I think we're in a technology era where it can happen and should happen. But Clowns, before we move on, dude, I want to get to you on this. You run a fantastic show with the Four Guys Recorders. I love your content. I think that the show is a lot different than many other podcasts out there. And you guys are always talking as gamers and friends. And I think that's what I love about it. Does this topic, of cross-play, cross-progression, mean something to you and the friends that you normally play with?
Well, Boom, thanks for the compliment. To me, this is a big deal. I have multiple systems that I play games on, so crossplay is huge. I'd like to transfer my progress, transfer my saves, things like that. When I buy stuff, and I'd hope that it'd be on the account of the game, so it could transfer over. And I think what Bethesda did and Pete Hines did is a smart move, because they're huge and they're big enough to go out and say this. And by doing that, hopefully other devs will follow or not be afraid to speak up. At this point, I think that it's Sony's greed, essentially, to keep their stuff locked down. And I think in the future, where we're going to a place where everything's like Play Anywhere or cross-play, they need to open up the doors a little bit, man, because they have a huge install base and they just want to keep those people locked in. But that's not going to stay that way with the future where we're headed in gaming.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Eventually, they're going to have to wake up and smell the coffee, so to speak. But I loved everyone's points. I want to move on to another controversial topic. Unfortunately, the plagiarism IGN shenanigans continues. And IGN is responding publicly to about disgraced editor Philip Mousin. All of his reviews that he did are apparently being pulled down, and I'm not talking about just the one that he got publicized for. Every one of his reviews are now in the process of being pulled down. Apparently, there has been at least a dozen new complaints. And this is IGN's direct statement. We've seen enough now, both from the thread and our own searches, that we're taking down pretty much everything he did. IGN Reviews editor Dan Stapleton wrote on Twitter last night, and referring to a thread on the gaming forum Reset Era categorizing the allegations. For days now, people have been pointing out more similarities to his work and various other articles and message boards. Now, here's the thing. I want to immediately go to UK Dazarus on this one. Now, this is a gigantic... The initial complaint was a giant blow to IGN. They are the biggest video game news source in the entire world. They literally have offices everywhere. So I thought initially that they might be able to get out from under this. It's one dude, it's one article, but it turns out now more people are uncovering more things. Do you think that this is going to leave such a black eye on IGN that they potentially could see the loss of thousands of viewers?
Yeah. Well, look what the one incident has done. It's damaged them tremendously, and it's going to bad name them, and people won't forget about it at the end of the day. And it's like any company where you work, a factory company, a big lawsuit company, anything, anyone fucks up, they're going to be on you straight away, and they're going to go through everything they've done and find everything that's gone wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't see a rainbow, at the end of this situation. I mean, they got out in front of it, and they went publicly about pulling down this guy's work. So I think that was good to really get in front of this before because the other news sites, the smaller ones anyway, are salivating because the champ just got knocked down, right? That's what happened. Yeah. He got knocked down. He's up against the ropes and he's staggering.
It's not just ING either, is it? IGN, so it's going to affect a lot of others like GameSpot, etc. as well. They're going to be checking their stuff as well, just in case. You know what I mean? To cover the asses. Yeah.
The magnifying glass that's going to be put on every site from now on is going to be a big deal. But you know what though? You have to be. When you work for one of these companies and you write a piece, someone has to be checking your work. You know what I'm saying? And, I don't know if it's just there's not enough time because, obviously if you're not first, you're last, right? That's what they say. So you got to get this stuff out quick. But Gaming Forte, dude, I want to go to you next, brother. This is obviously, we've said it, it's a black eye for IGN. It was a dark day for the industry as a whole because this was world news. This wasn't just a thread on Reset Era that got boxed out by the new Resident Evil screenshot. This is a big deal. People are still talking about it. I just pulled this story on Wednesday afternoon, so it's still fresh. Do you think that IGN could possibly recover from this?
I do think they can recover for it. I mean, it will never be looked at the same as it was before. That's why when you go look at even people that used to work there, like Colin Moriarty, who put up a video, I watched his, and I agree with what he said, because sometimes you're thinking about the company, but it's mostly the people that are mostly impacted by this. So I think the company will not be looked at the same, but the people that work there can recover from it. But the biggest thing that I look at is this dude has plagiarized everything he did. It even came out to being that his LinkedIn account was plagiarized. And I'm like, how do you plagiarize something that you accomplished in your life? It's like the dude never had an original thought in his life, it seems. So I think the more information that comes out about the things that he did will semi lessen the blow that IGN's getting, because that's why they're digging so deep into the stuff that he already made and published, because they're trying to discredit as much stuff as they can about the guy as possible. Us as people that like to report on news, talk about it, we look at IGN already with like a side grin because we feel like it's a lot of favoritism when it comes to the gaming side of that type of the community. So this doesn't help our viewpoint of it because most of us don't even really go to the website to even look at the stuff that they have on there anymore. But for the mass majority of people, I think they're doing a really good job in trying to recover their image, but that image will always be blackened by this one person's idea of wanting to say that I want to copy somebody else that's smaller than me. And the one thing that I will add to this is just the fact that I can't blame IGN and even the editors for this, because it's not like he took somebody from another written site and took their review and actually went through and actually redid it and re-put it in his words. He took a video, and videos are a little bit harder to actually catch when you're talking about taking somebody's original ideas and actually formulating your own opinion on it. So I think the more they dig into his past history, the more you'll see stuff like this being uncovered.
Yeah, I agree. I think that at the end of the day, his career is finished, and I think he might as well start, trying to go to a trade school or something, because he'll never work in journalism again. There's no doubt about that. Kid Smooth, I want to go to you next, dude. This is, like I said earlier, a big deal for the industry. The guy obviously is finished. There's no other ways to look at it. But do you think that, when usually with dominoes, one falls and then they all fall, right? So is it a possibility that this particular situation could now start wreaking its ugly head in other sites? Because you know how the gaming community is, especially the detective squad that we have running Reset Era. Those guys, they don't miss anything. Those men and women, they're like sleuths. And if something's out of line, if one period or one T isn't crossed or an I isn't dotted, they're doing a post about it. Do you think we may see others possibly put into the spotlight because of this?
I mean, chances are, I won't be surprised if other publications gets exposed for some sort of plagiarism, because now the eyes are on them. This is like really the thing to cover. I think, honestly, I don't think nothing really changes much. I think what will impact places like IGN or GameSpot, but IGN is so big, they did everything they needed to do to fix it.
Right.
But the only thing that would really hurt them, honestly, if it's one of their heads, like, like a Ryan McCaffrey or something, or if the industry turn their back on them, if they're like, all right, you know what, we're going to blackball them, or we're not going to give them the content or the interviews and stuff like that.
Yes, good point.
Those would be the stuff that have to do for them. Otherwise, we're still going to see IGN regardless. You know what I mean? Sure, it took its review down. IGN's name, I mean, of course, it hurts them. It's a black mark on them, but I don't think it hurts their credibility for say. Because remember, IGN also was it last month where they had to get rid of somebody for like sexual harassment?
Yes, there's a lot of stuff going on in IGN with sexual harassment stuff. Yes.
If anything, I mean, IGN has they're going to be shuffling around talent, because the thing is, what's going on with IGN that I see is that they're getting talent, they're blowing up, then they leave, and then they start their YouTube channel. That's what's been going on. Like, and I don't know. I feel like whether it's keeping talent around, or like, I don't think stuff from a public perception, they'll get hurt because they got the industry on their side. They will still get the interviews, they'll get the big reveals, they'll get the E3s, the Gamecoms, and all that other stuff. As long as they got that and that connection, they're not going anywhere. The IGN is not one individual. You know what I mean? This is not like, let's say, who's the biggest streamer, somebody like PewDiePie or Ninja. They could technically end their career one wrong move, because they're just solo. They're not an entire business. IGN is protected. It will take a lot, and it would take the industry, not the consumers, but the industry reacting for them to feel a hit.
Nice. Excellent point. Clowns, I want to go to you next, dude. Obviously, we're not media per se, but we're media personalities, because we all have our own shows. We all do our own videos. So in a sense, we are technically media, I guess you can say. And, like Kid Smooth was just saying, one wrong move, especially when you're a solo act, you can ruin your career. But do you think that someone as big as IGN, I mean, they are the world's biggest news source when it comes to gaming. Like I said earlier in the topic, they do have offices literally all over the entire world, even places that you wouldn't even think that they do. They have them, especially like in the Middle East. I didn't know there was a Middle East IGN, but there is one. So it is a big deal. Do you think that in a month from now we'll forget about this and move on to the next big thing?
You know, I'm going to be honest here, Boom. I think IGN is doing a great job of handling this, and I think we won't.
Excellent.
I think we won't forget about this because IGN is the one that keeps bringing it back up by further removing his stuff and more editors making statements against him. So I think kind of like the perception of IGN is changing, and I think they're realizing that their consumer base, who consumes their content, is very important to them, and I think they want to try to relate to them more. And I just think they're shifting heads and reorganization, all because they want to be able to reach the people, that have their base understand them.
Okay. I mean, you're making a lot of good points there, dude. Fantastic. And last, certainly, but not least, Zolker, I want to go to you, dude. This, again, it's a big deal for the industry as a whole because there are, I mean, just because IGN is first doesn't mean that there's not, other sites that may not be as big, like GameSpot and Giant Bomb and Kotaku and the rest of these sites. They have to all be concerned. Longtime, editors probably wouldn't do this. Newer cats who are trying to just get their next big paycheck might be doing this. Do you think that this might pop up in other sites?
I don't know if it's going to pop up in other sites, but I do feel that this is a lot bigger than people think because IGN has had, of course, there's the fanboys and people that hate them and say, oh, they're biased and all that. But a lot of times, people catch them in little lies that they say. And this was just in your face and huge because the guy he plagiarized, he went from 12,000 subs to 75,000 subs.
Yeah, his site exploded on the scene, and good on him.
And yeah, good on him, man. Like, I mean, he caught it, he saw it, and he was just like, "Hey, man, what the hell?" Right? And that's great. One career died, another one, jumped up.
Yes.
So it's and this guy that they had on IGN, I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter, but he couldn't even like come up with questions for interviews. He had like another person helped him with Octopath Traveler. Yeah. And this guy, and he's like, hey, I didn't really research this. Do you mind helping me? And like this private message with someone else, like, can you help me get these questions? And the guy was like, yeah. And he gave him like questions in like 4 minutes. And he used every single one of those questions in his interview and basically word for word verbatim put it in the article. And it's just like, how do you have somebody get that high in IGN and then plagiarize a small YouTuber? And it's just such, and like everybody was saying, it is a black mark. And IGN has been handling this extremely well. Yeah. They're not only hiding from it. They're going, all right, let's get in front of this because this is going to be huge. And they fired him. They went back, took out everything that he put up, basically, like we were saying earlier. And they're basically apologizing to the gamer. Because let's be honest, if you're getting paid to play a damn game, like you're doing pretty damn good for your life. Like,
yes.
A lot of us love it. And that's what we do. This is our passion. We love gaming. And when somebody disrespects it in that way, and then not to mention disrespects a small YouTuber who's trying to just make it or just enjoy what he's doing. Like the guy seems like he enjoys gaming and he puts like reviews out.
Yeah, no, the guy from BoomStick Gaming is legit, dude. Like he's a real gamer, and I'm very happy that his site exploded.
Yeah, and that's just for IGN to basically be like, we're for the gamer. Like they always want to give us the news and everything. For them to just have somebody like punch us in the face like that really gives, like, honestly, like what Clown said, it really gives me credit to IGN that they're going to be vetting a lot harder. I think that you're going to see a lot of different articles. They're going to basically clean sweep everything before they put it out now. And a lot of other sites are going to start doing the same thing. They're going to look, they're doing it right now. They're going back and looking at other reviews that they had. Every site is doing it. Once something like this happens, every site's going through their backlog, checking just to make sure.
Nice.
And that's what they have to do.
Yes, I was just gonna say you after this situation, again, they're gonna have to be very careful about giving the keys to the kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, just don't take it for a ride and bring it back. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have to be. They may have to sit in this in the sidecar with them for a bit. You know, until they because a guy like for instance Ryan McCaffrey, he wouldn't do something like this.
Isn't this guy not a kid? So, like, isn't
he's not a
pretty high editor in Nintendo?
No, you know what's crazy? Not only was he part of their IGN Nintendo podcast, but this guy wasn't a contributor. This guy was like a legit employee. You know what I'm saying? So it's shocking that he, you know, again, you have to ask yourself, they're pulling all of his work, which means that this goes back a long time, and it also means that someone wasn't approving his work.
Yeah.
Well, it's lackadaisical, right? They're just they're just like that's company wide.
Yes.
That's not just one person, one editor. That's multiple people basically phoning it in when they get into the office.
Yeah,
to be honest,
you know what? If someone wanted to pay me half of what that guy was getting to play games and then write about them, hit me up on the DM. I'll come in for an interview. Trust me, I'm an older guy, but I have 40 years experience. So you know what? Let's do this.
Look, man,
it was just dumb. It was just dumb. Like we're IGN's in the middle of San Francisco, like the tech world. Like right here. Like I'm from here, and it's Howard. This guy could have used this platform to get farther in his career, do a lot of different things. Yes. And he just didn't take it seriously. And he just thought, I'll just look around, see what other people say, and regurgitate what they say, and I'll be fine. People are dumb. There's a lot of smart people here in this in this industry. And for a small YouTuber to catch him, it's just like that's how bad it was.
That's how ballsy he was. Yeah.
It's not even ballsy, but that's how how did IGN not see it? Like, how did they not see it if it's like he's just like doesn't care? And he like almost said it word for word, sentence for sentence.
Yeah, he did. I watched it twice and I was disgusted.
Yeah, so I don't get how IGN lets that slide by. And it's just, you know, the big, I don't know. It's just like it flabbergasts me. I'm just like, wow, like this is just like obscene.
Yeah, definitely. Gaming Forte, you wanted to pop in with something?
No, I was just gonna say, and I don't know if I'm the only one. Maybe I am, but when this first happened. And I saw BoomStick Gaming. I was like, wait a minute. When did Boom start doing reviews on games? And I go to your channel. I'm like, I don't see a review. And then I found it was somebody different. I was about to say, I was like, bro, Boom about to blow the hell up.
Yeah, I got a lot of messages that night. My DM exploded. Like I must have gotten at least 25 messages from the community. Like, oh, Boom, you can you believe what they did to you? And I got out ahead of it. Of course, I immediately linked the BoomStick Gaming dudes his stuff because you know what, he didn't deserve to be plagiarized. But the success that he's seeing now is well deserved because listen, he had 12,000 subs, okay, and I'm a newcomer. I only got on the scene last November, so I'm still relatively new. I don't know how long he's been doing it, but to acquire 12,000, you got to put in a lot of work. There's just no doubt about it. So to see him and to hear that, he's sitting at 75,000 subs. Is awesome. It's great. And you know what? I know that Pierre Schneider, who runs IGN, had a statement out right after that not only were they going to, publicly apologize for this horrible act, but they were gonna. They also. I don't know if there was a financial gain in the channel for BoomStick Gaming. I'm sure that there was, because if he wanted to be savvy, he could probably sue them. And I'm sure that there was some sort of NDA. Listen, don't talk about it. Here's a check for whatever. How many zeros do you want? So good on, again. Fantastic for BoomStick Gaming. Good to see that he's going to be very successful out of what was an atrocity in gaming. But I want to move on to the next topic. And pre-game, we were all talking about how incredible EA's Battlefield 1 looks now, right? Everyone is playing it. It's got the 4K update. The little hiccup, with party chat was taken care of on Tuesday. But you know what? Sadly, it seems that EA does not learn from the past, and it looks like they may be pulling a Titanfall 2. And what I mean basically is Black Ops 4 releases October 12th. Red Dead Redemption 2 releases October 26th. And sitting in the middle of those monstrosities at October 19th is Battlefield 5. Now, one of the best known examples in this industry of what happened to Titanfall 2, by all accounts, which was a fantastic game. It literally was my game of the year it came out. It launched in between Call of Duty and another big game.
Battlefield 1.
Yeah, Battlefield 1. That's right. Okay, so here we are again. EA is launching and again, from that last trailer for Battlefield 5, it looked ridiculously good, and now with the Battle Royale, with that Ring of Fire, ridiculous, right? Everyone's excited for that. Do you think we're going to see the same thing happen? I want to go to Zorker first on this one. Do you think that this is another blunder from their marketing to put Battlefield 5 in between Black Ops 4 and Red Dead Redemption?
I think to some extent it is, and there's already news sources coming out that the pre-orders for
that's
Battlefield
correct.
5
are
are extremely low, and an executive like left or quit, or there's just a lot of drama going on. Like, it feels like EA has something going on since Battlefront 2. Like, something's always just wrong there. Like, they're trying to right their ship, so to speak.
Yeah.
For them to launch this huge game, which to me, I think looks amazing. Like, I'm getting one. I'm not getting Black Ops because Call of Duty, I don't like the way it looks. I'm just weird. But this just looks a lot of fun. And I do think that they're messing up, but where else are they going to launch it? Like, are they going to launch it after Red Dead, where everybody spent their money? Like, I think everybody's trying to launch before Red Dead comes out, and they can't go after because Fallout 76 is there. So I think this is kind of, unless they launch in September, but I think this is kind of the best spot they can come out and hopefully catch people. And not to mention, this game has a lot of flack for, like you've seen throughout the months, like, oh, there's a woman on the front.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Just ridiculous. But a lot of people do find that like annoying. And it's a lot of the hardcore don't want to buy their game because of that, which is just ridiculous. But it is like a problem, right? And EA, I don't think handled it well, saying kind of like, well, if you don't like it, don't buy it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? A lot of people aren't buying it, my friend.
Yeah.
And your pre-sales are not going well. That's not a good marketing, right? I mean,
if you don't like it, don't buy it. This is never good.
Didn't we learn from, Xbox in 2013? We have a system for that, right? Like, just we're not gonna ask, we're not gonna answer your questions. This is just dumb. Like, it's beneath us. No. It's, you answer the question, you give the fans more information, you keep them involved because they're the ones that are paying your damn checks, right? That's what's happening. And a lot of people do not like what's happening with it. I personally don't care. I'm buying the game because it looks amazing. But to top it all off, to launch after Call of Duty and then in between like Red Dead, a lot of people might just buy Call of Duty and then not buy anything till Red Dead, and then that's it, right? And
yeah.
That's why it's a little tough, because where else do you guys see that they can launch this game? Like September, or like I don't see any other date, because Fallout 76 is going to kill it, and so is Red Dead. Yeah. Those are probably going to be the two biggest games in the fall. So I don't know where they can put it. It sucks, but at the same time, I would have put
it if I was working for EA. So listen, guys, if you're looking for a marketing dude, I'm right here. Okay, I would have put it in. I would have launched it, like September 21st. That's what I would have put it towards the middle end of September. I mean, you obviously have Tomb Raider on the 14th. You have Spider-Man, which is going to be big, but that's an exclusive on the 7th, which I cannot wait for. But the 21st, to the 28th, you had that 2-week period. You would have, if Battlefield 5 would have launched 4 weeks before Black Ops 4, they might have done better in the sales. I think that this has the. I'm not going to say it's going to fail, because you got to remember what they have going for them this year is that this has a single player campaign and Black Ops does not. And I don't know about anybody on the panel. I think we talked pregame. I'm not buying this Black Ops because of that. It's the first Call of Duty that I'm not going to buy because I don't really play it for online. I play for the single player. Now, Battlefield, I do both.
Yeah, and it might save them. That might actually, a blunder from another company, Black Ops not having a single player might actually help them. And that's kind of the only thing I see as a positive that they can bank on. And that's all they can do is just kind of sit there and wait. Like, I think the September 21st would have been a great date, but then that's a whole month, that's like going forward a whole month. A development and getting huge games like this take a lot of time. And they probably need every day they can to like polish it up. So, it's a tough spot, and it just shows how crowded the industry is, and it just shows why Xbox is like, we're not going to really release too many games in the holiday season anymore, because it's just so impacted with so many games that there's only so much money that can go around.
Yeah, you have to be one of the regular properties that comes out yearly to be able to, push your way into one of these fall dates and survive. No doubt about it.
And I mean, we haven't even talked about Forza Horizon 4 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Like, there's just a bunch of games coming out that like everybody's competing with each other at that point. It doesn't matter what genre, first-person shooter, adventure, racing. It doesn't matter at this point. And it's just crazy how many games that we're all going to go broke getting.
Yeah, again, start collecting cans now, folks. It's still early August. Planet, I want to go to you, Kid Smooth. This, I know I never want to see a company fail. That's just me. My glass is always half full. And Titanfall, when I talk about it, Titanfall 2 specifically breaks my heart because it was my game of the year. I'm a huge Titanfall fan. I have been. I was crushed that we didn't see anything about 3 coming out at E3 2018. But this has that stink all over it. And I know Battlefield 5 is big. I know Battlefield 5 is going to have single player. I know they're going to have the Ring of Fire. I know it has destructible environments, and it's Battlefield. I mean, it has a gigantic following, but this is, I think, a really bad spot, and I just don't understand why EA keeps doing this. What is your take on this situation?
I'm not worried about EA and Battlefield with this release date, because remember the last time, it's hard to compare it with Titanfall 2, because Titanfall 2, the scary part was that it was releasing between Call of Duty and the other big game, Battlefield.
Right, Battlefield,
yes. And this is Battlefield. The thing about what EA did with Respawn in that game was that was a ransom job to buy them out for cheap. It was like, game's going to flop, and we're gonna put it out, and then we're going to buy it out for cheap. I think it was just a way to devalue them.
Thought of it like that.
And they took advantage of it, and they got them. And now they're going to be working on the next Star Wars game. And if EA loses now, this is what I'm worried. If EA loses this Star Wars thing, it respawns up for sale again. Just to give you a heads up. So
yeah.
But as far as Battlefield, don't look into the pre-order numbers. I mean, I remember there's a report on God of War pre-order numbers being low. Like, don't look, because we don't need to pre-order games anymore. We really don't. There's there's not really a necessary to do that. So where are these pre-orders coming from? Are we talking about what we digitally pre-order on the consoles, or are we talking about stuff from GameStop, Best Buy, and Walmart? Like, there's the idea of doing that isn't happening anymore, because when does a game sell out anymore? You always have access to a lot of the big releases. So I'm not worried about that. Battlefield is what Call of Duty's biggest competitor. Sure, Call of Duty typically sells more, but Battlefield is primed to be the better game this year, but I think by a landslide. And sure, it's been through controversy, but there's nothing wrong with controversy when it comes to your game. It's always controversy sells, whether it's good, bad. No Man's Sky had controversy prior to it come out, and it's still sold like gangbusters. People dropped it, but it's still sold. I think with Battlefield, I think it's still going to sell well. It's going to be in the top 5 of the NPDs and sells. It's going to do that. I don't think this move hurts EA whatsoever, because they're launching in their normal months, and I think everybody's really overestimating what Red Dead Redemption is going to do. This is not Grand Theft Auto. Sure, Red Dead is going to be critically acclaimed as far as game metascore wise and people playing it and hyping it, sure, but this is not going to be. This is not a game you really have to hide from. Did people really have to hide from Red Dead Redemption 1, the first one? Like,
no.
It's like, sure, it's been a long wait for it, but I think people are really overestimating what this game should do. And I think that's why I think all these publishers like punked out and moved their games like really like early, and they didn't really have to. And I think Battlefield is just standing ground, regardless of a Red Dead game or not. I think they were going to release in October. All their games have released in October, and they like to release close to Call of Duty to give that like we're here. You know, this is the alternative. You know.
Yeah, well, they're bumping for first place. The two of them are racing down the track, and you disagree?
I have to disagree with the Red Dead. How you're saying you think developers are overestimating or basically too fearful of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have friends that are super casual. Every single one of my friends that plays games maybe once a week or once a month is buying Red Dead Redemption. That is the only game they've talked to me about. Like I talked to them about like Spider-Man, all these, they don't care. They really don't. They're just like, oh dude, when's that like Red Dead coming out? Because that game was amazing back in the day. That's all they talk about. I think Red Dead's obviously we know it's gonna sell gangbusters, but I do think that developers are smart to avoid that game, man, because that thing's gonna sell like crazy. And it's just,
I mean, I'm sure it's gonna sell, but I don't think it's gonna really. I think it's gonna do what it's gonna do. I don't think it's gonna sell like Grand Theft Auto. It'll sell. It'll be probably one of the top sellers this year. I don't think it's gonna last as long as Grand Theft Auto did.
Well, I don't think anything will sell that much, man. That thing's almost at 100 million. That
thing and they also doubled
in like media history or something.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to sell as much as that, but I do think it's going to take a lot of money away from every game launching this holiday.
The thing to be concerned about Call of Duty and Battlefield, right? Those games sales. I don't think it's Red Dead cutting into their sales. So I think those games can coexist. It's whether the people playing Fortnite are ready to come off Fortnite to go out and play those games again.
That's very true. That's very true. Remember, free to play versus $60. Free wins.
Well, that's why they're doing the battle royale modes, right? In each one of those, because they know that's the market they need to hit. And and this is the first time Fortnite's going to have 2 AAA games come out and compete with them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, we all like, a lot of people love PUBG. I play it on Xbox. I enjoy it, but let's be real. That's not a AAA developer making that game.
Nope.
They're not tearing down walls over here. It's just, it's a cool game, but it runs like crap on a lot of things. Like Call of Duty and Battlefield are going to be smooth and it's going to be ready to go.
Well, like I said, they are AAA. They're both AAA devs. Right. Every time we play a Call of Duty or a Battlefield game, you may not like what they're doing, but you have to admit that there's quality behind it. So just imagine Battle Royale with quality. I think that, Fortnite and PUBG might be in some trouble, but that's a big subject for another show. But I want to go to Gaming Forte next on this one, dude. We talked earlier about this being a bad move, but they're not dumb at EA. They just sometimes do silly moves. I'm wondering if this is another silly move or ingenious. But what's your take on this?
Well, I agree with everybody what they're saying. It's mostly, where were they going to really launch it? I mean, I was thinking, like you just said, like the end of September. But they normally want to bring it out as close to Call of Duty as they possibly can. Overall, I think, for me, it's not going to hurt it because I'm more of a Battlefield person than I am a Call of Duty person.
Okay.
I think overall, it really just comes down to the game. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, Titanfall really never recovered, and Titanfall was a great game. Well, they also had the downside of how a lot of people perceived how Titanfall 1, it actually went with no content left in the game after a couple of months of playing it. Actually, a couple of weeks of playing it, people started dropping the game. So I think people going into the second Titanfall really didn't appreciate what that game was, and it just didn't catch. Where Battlefield has an established franchise, people that love that game over Call of Duty and a whole bunch of other first-person shooters. So I think that alone will still at least carry the day for that game. But you definitely, it's like a lose-lose situation in that Red Dead comes out literally 2 weeks, a week and a half after that game. Call of Duty's right before it. And a lot of people are looking at the pre-order numbers of it and say, well, Call of Duty is doing really, well, not super well, but it's doing good enough because they just had their beta. And a lot of people are pre-ordering that game just to experience what that game is. Battlefield hasn't had its beta yet, which is starting on September 4th. So people are gonna we'll see what those pre-orders numbers look like after the week of the beta comes out, because I guarantee you those people want to at least try that. And now that we actually got our first look at what they're actually theorizing for the Battle Royale, that's what I think a lot of people are going to be more interested in Battlefield for, because I think Call of Duty is going to probably do it good, but I think Battlefield is going to do it way better just because they're used to the open warfare, huge maps. They're putting vehicles in it. The whole Ring of Fire thing was something I wasn't even thinking of when they actually did it. And when I saw that trailer, it was like breathtaking to me. So the more and more people that see this, I think it will still be in their favor, but they had no choice. They're not going to launch it in late December. They're not going to launch it after
suicide.
Yeah, they're not going to do that. And most people want to get their games out before Black Friday.
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
So that's why you're not going to see it super late in November. They have to get out as early as possible. So I think it was a good move for them to bring it where they need to bring it, and let's just hope that the game does well, because I'm very much looking forward to this one.
Great points, man.
Yeah, excellent. Clowns, I want to go to you next, dude. I don't know whether or not you are into Battlefield or Call of Duty. But are you getting any of these games? More importantly, do you think that this might hurt sales for Battlefield 5 being in between these two monsters? Okay, you know what? I'm going to take this question over to UK Dazarus. I didn't see a message from Clowns. UK Dazarus, I want to pose the same question to you. Are you, out of the 3 games, most people will say I'm getting Red Dead, but for their military shooter, do you skip one and get the other, or do you get both?
Well, one thing, it doesn't matter what game comes out. If you've got certain hardcore fans for a certain game, you've got hardcore fans for Battlefield, hardcore fans for COD, etc. You know what I mean? I will personally be getting, well, I won't be buying Battlefield or COD. I'm not getting COD because it's not single player. Battlefield will end up in the vault, mate. So that's where I'm getting it. I'm not. If I'm paying 20 a year for it, I'll wait till it goes in the vault, which is within 6 months normally.
Yeah, I mean that's actually a fantastic point. Really smart.
And I have a backlog to keep me going. Plus, I'll be getting Red Dead. I'll have Forza Horizon 4.
Right.
You know what I mean? Them games are going to grind anyway.
So, in the end, they still get your money, my friend. In the end, they still get your money.
They do, but I'd rather pay. Well, in the UK, it's £20 a year for EA access, so that's pittance for me. You know what I mean? So,
well, you know what? You're thinking like a man who watches the money, and that is smart, because I didn't even think about that. In 6 months, it'll be in the vault. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, you got to think about the money being with all these bloody games they're bringing out. You know what I mean? Then you've got your subscriptions to pay them on the cheap as well. So,
how long has Battlefield 1 been in the vote now?
Oh, ages.
Yeah, a long time.
I've been in there a while now.
Hasn't it been there only a month or 2?
Yeah, I thought it just showed up recently.
Yeah, so and that came out over a year and a half ago. So I don't think
been in there a few months, hasn't it?
No, I mean, the only games that they really put in there, like Mass Effect Andromeda, was in there pretty quickly, and that's because
Titanfall 2 was another one that was in there quick.
Yeah, they kind of put games in there that aren't doing so well, and they put it in there so you buy their DLC, so to speak, if you enjoy it, right? And that's I don't think Battlefield 5 is going to be in there quickly. I think Star Wars Battlefront, but that's coming up on a year, right? That it released. So
yeah, plus you'll still get the trial as well.
Yeah, you'll get the trial.
10-hour trial to see if you like it, which will persuade or dissuade people as well. So
the only games that they really put out after 6 months or 7 months is sports games. So and that's because the season's over, right? Like Madden launched right now. They're going to bring it out in February when the Super Bowl ends, and it's just
just an example, you know what I mean? But not just that. Before then, you're going to have all the games will be discounted in deals with gold anyway. You know what I mean? So
now, one thing I will say is, if now that I just thought about it, that could hurt Battlefield. It could be contributing to the low pre-order numbers. Is people are just tired of World War I and World War II at this point.
Yep.
Yeah,
Speak
I think
for yourself.
Well, no, I love. I love war. Like I think what they're doing with World War II, it actually is going to add a little bit more variety to the gameplay because there was more weapons and more gear that they can bring into the game. But I just think the overall masses are just kind of split on that at this point now. Call of Duty's kind of going back to Modern Warfare, kind of, not all the way. And then we don't know when the next Battlefield game is going to do that. The next Battlefield game could be Bad Company 3.
Which we all want.
Which we all want. Definitely
Yes.
all want that. But then we know there's probably going to be another Star Wars game next year coming from DICE. So it's going to be at least 2 to 4 years until we see a proper modern Battlefield game, which would be crazy.
I think that's what's hurting their sales, to be honest with you. I think the little like fun twists they're doing to World War II, it's not sitting well with people. Because like for me, I'm a huge World War II. Like I love the era. I've read like a gajillion books about it. So whenever there's a World War II game, I'm buying it no matter what. Like that's just who I am. But I will say that like having like, you know, not the woman thing, but having a woman with like a bionic arm out of nowhere, and I'm just like sitting there looking at it like, what the hell? Like a lot of people see this as the last World War II game, probably for the next 8 to 10 years.
Oh, for sure.
So they
it came back quick, and then it ushered off the stage.
Yeah, and so like I mean, I was happy to see World War II again because I was getting sick of the futuristic stuff. The modern stuff was kind of like, like I've seen it all before, and I wanted World War II to come back with the graphics we have now. And I hope like the story, like the campaign missions, are authentic, and the multiplayer is the only one affected by like the bionic arms and Iron Man flying around. I don't know what the hell they have going on, but I just hope that's the only thing affected. And I think that's hurting the sales, to be honest, is that people were expecting a Battlefield genuine modern, like, you know, graphics on it, and they're not going to get World War II. They're going to get World War II with a little fun sci-fi, kind of like Wolfenstein almost. And people didn't really want that. They wanted an authentic World War II game, and they're not getting it.
Mm-hmm. You know, when I look at some of the stuff they're doing, I immediately think Resistance. If you remember that on the PS3, I loved Resistance, where it was the alternate World War, the old fashioned, but not really. I'm not sure if that's what we're going to get. I hope not, because it is supposed to be somewhat authentic to World War II, but we'll see.
Crispy Bomb in the chat said it's Captain America Battlefield, so Captain America World War II. Yeah, it's like a perfect example of what we're talking about.
Nice.
I'll say something before we move on, Boom, about Battlefield with women on the cover. With women on the cover, all the dunces that thinks that's an issue are off the fucking heads. But I will say, if they put Primal Eve on front of the cover, it'd have sold fucking millions, mate. You know what I mean?
Big shout out to Primal Eve.
Yes, if she's still in the chat.
I'm not sure, but I want to move on to. I think this is going to be a big topic. It's going to be fun because there's going to be speculation behind it. Next week is Gamescom 2018, right? And recently, Larry Herb of Xbox Live fame basically confirmed the presence of Forza 4 alongside Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2. Now, for Sea of Thieves, they're going to show off Forsaken Shores. And for, of course, State of Decay 2, they're supposed to be showing an all new mode for that's coming in the Daybreak pack. But there's also rumors that they're gonna have. They've been teasing now. This isn't something I made up. I've been watching all the sites that they're gonna have breaking news, exclusive interviews. And this is where it gets good. Never before seen content. Now, what that content is, I don't know. There's supposed to be a huge Game Pass announcement, and they're also finally, for the love of Jehovah, going to show off the Elite Controller V2. Everybody's been waiting for that. Supposedly, according to rumors that I have heard, that it's supposed to be out in November. So they have to show. This is the last big show. I want to go to Kid Smooth first on this one. What are your hopes for Gamescom 2018? What expectations do you have? Because here's the thing. Last year's Gamescom was an abomination, okay? Having Shannon Loftus sitting on that couch showing off the Disney games as big new titles made me want to throw myself out of the window, okay? What are you expecting? I mean, because, again, obviously, let's call a spade here, guys. Microsoft is on that E3 high, and they just don't want to come down from it, and nobody wants to. As an Xbox fan, you've been smiling from ear to ear This is another big stage. It's Europe's E3. It's the biggest gaming show in Europe. They have the chance to really, knock some people down. Smooth, what do you think about this?
Well, I'll tell you this: they're not knocking anybody down at Gamescom. Like my expectations for Gamescom, for future Gamescom, and for Xbox were shot down like last year. And the fact that Inside Xbox is not, is it? Yeah, Inside Xbox. That's the show, right?
Correct.
Is doing the host for it. So it's going to be an Inside Xbox episode. So the cringy monthly, that's what it is. So what do I expect? I have no like bold predictions. It's like I expect the Xbox controller to come out. It looks great. Everybody hyped for it. I expect people to make fun of it for having an internal battery and it being another controller, but I expect it to be beast. I expect some PUBG news, whether it's coming to Game Pass, whether it's finally finished or the new mode, but a release date for the actual version 1.0, the actual game. State of Decay, Forza Horizon 4, of course, that's the only title that's coming like exclusive big for Xbox for the remainder of the year that they have to promote. So I expect to get some more information there, some new updates that we haven't heard before. And otherwise, I just so happen to be off, so I'll be watching it. I may do a stream to it. I'm just not sure. Because Gamescom last year was just a bit annoying. Very, very, very annoying. And I don't know what they are going to do, what surprises they can pull. If this was like a standard Gamescom of the 2016s and 2015, I'd be hype, like very hype, because I love press conferences, like the presentations. But this Gamescom that we're getting is not worth taking a day off of work for or anything like that. Nothing to write home about.
So you're not expecting it to be an E3 where he comes out?
Oh, hell no. Absolutely not.
Do we know if Phil Spencer is attending?
No, he'll probably be there, but he's not going to be in there's no stage. There's none of that. It's going to be a couch again. Just give you a heads up. It's a couch again, a Twitter live show, some hashtags and stuff like that. It's literally going to be a glorified version, a longer version of Inside Xbox themed around Gamescom. So cringy moments with the same cast. They're just going to have some developer interviews there, maybe some Tomb Raider footage. I don't think we're going to get anything breaking. I think the biggest news we're going to get is whatever's being added to Gamescom, Game Pass, the controller, which has been rumored. I mean, if they can announce, do you think they're going to announce like any studios like Obsidian and them buying Bluehole or something like that there?
It's funny because, I talked about this on a few shows ago. There was a rumor that popped up and immediately it wasn't debunked either. It just kind of went away. That there were rumors that they were in talks to buy the Cyberpunk 2077 developer, which is CD Projekt Red. Now, I've said it publicly. Again, I don't think this is going to happen. This is a pipe dream of monumental proportion. But I'm going to say this: they are a European developer. They do have a good working relationship with Phil Spencer and the team at Microsoft in Redmond. So if you were going to make an announcement that big where, because we know that they're buying other studios. They're not done yet. That's confirmed by Phil Spencer himself. So Obsidian, that could be announced, but just imagine this for a second. We're all expecting garbage, right? We're expecting literally nothing, and for good reason, because last year's was horrendous.
Yeah.
Could you just imagine for a second, Microsoft, that Phil Spencer comes on the stage and he announces
the couch.
He comes on the couch, and he likes to stand. So I don't know if he'd probably have to stand for this one, because on the couch it wouldn't be as monumental. But all joking aside, if he came on to Gamescom and he got in front of all those millions and millions of people that are not only attending but watching, and said that CD Projekt Red is the latest person to join the Microsoft first party team, and that Cyberpunk 2077 was an exclusive. The next generation is over. It's over before it starts. And if you hate me, if you're a PS guy and you hate me for saying that, I'm just speaking reality. Now, is this going to happen? No, it's not going to happen. Yeah. But it is the perfect stage for it to happen. So I don't know, Smooth. I mean, it's
the way how Gamescom has been belittled. It's a big event as far as attendance, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
As far as attendance, it's bigger than E3.
Yes.
But as far as like press reaction, the press surrounding Gamescom is different from press surrounding E3. Like E3 is like the shit you would want that. If not for E3, if you get that, if they let's say it's a Remedy, Obsidian, or a CD Projekt Red that they do acquire, right? Let's say that this does happen, right? I think what Microsoft would do in that case, they would do literally CD Projekt Red, and they would do a video at Microsoft headquarters, like doing the announcement video. Yeah. It'll be on Xbox Newswire. It'll be just a day of just like, oh shit, this happened. I don't think it will be reserved for like a Gamescom. I think that event alone, if it's not at E3, could be big enough where they can literally just put it out there and it have like a shockwave through the internet.
Yeah, no,
I think Gamescom is big enough to make an announcement like that. You know, I feel, yeah. I mean, I think Gamescom is pretty. It's like the biggest event in Europe, right?
Right.
So
it is E3 for sure.
To get, you know, the North American market, like they're doing fine. They can do better, of course, but the European market is where they need to find their footing, and to make a big announcement there would be huge for them, right? And Smooth, I don't get how you can hate on Gamescom. I expect you to be wearing your white gloves in your videos, and if you don't do that, bro, I'm making an exposed video. Just joking.
No, because you know what hurt my heart at Gamescom is like last year. I like literally, I was like, I'm not taking any appointments. I'm gonna leave it to my colleague. I'm gonna go in this back room. Put the computer on, put my phone on, and just sit back and relax. And when that shit unfolded,
you weren't too embarrassed? Weren't you ashamed?
Yeah, it was probably. It's like I tried to make the best. I was like, well, at least those Disney's games are gonna be 4K on Xbox One X. I tried to do it. It's just like, yo, I can't believe this is happening.
The damage control is real, bro.
Wow.
Like I even bought Disneyland Adventures. Like I can't believe it. Like I
downloaded that shit.
What the hell's wrong with you?
I'll wait for it to hit Game Pass.
That's what I should have done. That's what I should have
Well,
done.
yeah, I'm guilty of downloading that.
Listen, we all have our hidden shames. It is a reality. But Daz, being that you were talking, I'm going to go to you, dude. You're in Europe, right? You're obviously my brother from over the pond. This is obviously a big deal for Gamescom. Is a big deal for the European market. There's just no other way to put it. But you know, we are expecting, you know, some surprises. Now, again, you know, I'd like to take the approach where I'm expecting literally nothing and get blown away. That's what I would like to happen. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. But I would definitely like to finally see and pre-order the Elite controller too. Because, you know, look, gaming is something that that all of us do on a daily basis, sometimes for as much as 6 to 8 hours per day, depending on who you are. Right? So you have a controller in your hand and you want the best controller. And right now it's the Elite. And to have the Elite controller V2 come out, everyone's been waiting for that. Are you expecting anything more than the Elite version 2?
I just think it's going to be an update of E3. What we already know. Okay. There may be one or two surprises in there, but Ed Boon's going to be there, so there could be an announcement of MK11.
Yes.
Fingers crossed, but there's a lot of rumors saying it's going to be on next gen, so I don't know, but fingers crossed that might happen. Maybe a few new indie titles, like you say, the Elite 2, but I can't really see a lot more, to be honest with you. I just think it's going to be an update show.
Okay, well, I mean, that makes perfect sense. I mean, listen, you know, E3 was fantastic, but I would like to see some other, news with that. Gaming Forte, I want to go to you next, dude. What are you expecting as a fan of Xbox? Are you hoping that we see something new? I mean, because, you know, they obviously know that they effed up last year. I mean, they were the laughing stock. There's no doubt about it. And this is a different Microsoft post E3. That they have a bit of a swagger now with the way that they're talking with the media, right? And the information. When you hear these people talking, there's a bit of pride. Do you think that they know they have to do better?
No, I definitely think they need to do better. As long as they don't have people playing games that don't play games ever in their life. As long as they don't put that on display, because with this being basically an internet show, we have the chances of that happening when the public gets their hands and Microsoft wants to ask people, how did you like this game? And these people never touched the game a day in their life. So as long as we don't get that, it will never be as bad as it was last year. But when it comes to that Elite controller, that's pretty much the only thing I'm looking forward to. I'm keeping low expectations for everything else. I do think they may announce a new studio. I don't think they're going to blow us away with it's not going to be like you said, some CG Project Red that would just melt the internet. But I do think just the controller itself is the number one thing I've been looking forward to for the last year, ever since it got leaked. And I was hoping it was going to show at E3. It didn't. I have 3 Elite controllers right now. And
nice. I know you showed me the last time, you lucky dog.
I know. and 2 of them are still in the box because I didn't have an issue with it yet. But
I'm gonna DM you my address, bro. Hook it up.
No, man, you gotta keep it. You gotta keep them. But no, man, that's what I'm really looking forward to from them. The biggest thing that I think they can do is just put on a good show. Honestly, we all hate on like Larry Hurd when it comes to him needing to be behind the scenes and stuff. And I still think that's the truth. I just think that they need to just really think about the audience they're speaking to when they're talking about these different adventures that they're going with, gaming, the things that they put on stage. I think they need to be very conscious that their audience is not there at Gamescom. Their audience is the people that's watching live on a stream somewhere. Yep. And they need to really put that at the heart of it. And if they can do that, the show will be fine. I'm just looking forward to just the controller, and that's mostly just it. And if anything else, will just be a bonus if it does happen.
Yeah,
I hope it's got a better glue on the grips.
Yes,
exactly. I'm on my 2nd Elite, and it's started to come away. I've actually super glued it yesterday.
And I will say this. The only thing I'm probably a little disappointed with the controller is the rumors of the rechargeable battery. I mean, some people probably want the rechargeable battery. I'm sorry. That's the one thing about the PlayStation 4 controller I hate the most, because I feel like I got to go out and buy a $60 controller every time that controller battery goes dead in it. And so when I hear these people complain like, Xbox people rather have, pay for batteries. Yeah, because I could just go buy a pack of batteries or buy a rechargeable battery that I could just change out whenever the battery
I have multiple batteries. batteries.
$22. Get a 2-pack of batteries, and I'm perfectly fine. And I recharge them until they die, and my controller still works.
Right.
So,
do you know, I've had my recharge kit since 2013, and it still lasts about 3-4 hours.
My recharge kit just died. My Xbox rechargeable battery just died after about however many years, 2013. It literally just died this week. That's amazing value. I spent $20.
And it still lasts, and 5 years later, it just died. That's a big deal because batteries are expensive. Zolkar, I want to go to you last on this one, dude. Look, we know that Microsoft is going to be really light in regards to first-party games come this fall. I mean, it's Forza Horizon 4 is probably going to be in the high mid-90 Metacritic. I did a story on my channel about the Halo missions showing up there as a staged events within Forza Horizon 4, which is ridiculous. But you know what? This is the last moment, I think, that we could finally get release dates for Ashen and Below. Do you think that this is a good stage for that to happen?
For small games like Ashen and Below, kind of, little indie title, yeah, I think that's good, especially if they're going to announce it, because I think Ashen's going day and date in Game Pass.
Correct.
So they can announce that. That can be the big news for Game Pass that they have. But also, they said that they're going to bring new content. I think the new content is kind of like what Kid Smooth said. It's not going to be anything that blows your face off. I think it's going to be something like Sea of Thieves update, right? Something like that, like the new Forsaken Shores, which I'm looking forward to just as much as any game coming out because I'm a big Sea of Thieves fan.
Nice.
But everything else that they're going to talk about, like the Elite controller, I think that's going to be good. But I just wouldn't be surprised if they do announce a studio that they buy. I just wouldn't be. I wouldn't be surprised because Jez has talked about it. It's been hinted at by executives saying we're not done. I mean, where else were you going to announce this next year at E3?
Right.
I mean, they have, and I think we talked about this on Saturday. Boom, they have the momentum right now, right?
Yes, they do.
This generation showed us that momentum is probably the most important thing in gaming right now, and they have that going for them in spades since E3. no matter what anybody says. And they're going to try to keep that going as fast as they want, right? And as big as they want. And sure, they might have a couch. I don't know. I hopefully see Kid Smooth on one chilling and watching this. But
nice.
It's just going to be, I think it's going to be a good time. I think that it's not going to be anything that like E3 level, because this E3 was just huge.
Yeah.
So don't expect anything like that. Like, I mean, I just think that they might announce they bought a developer. Maybe it's a AA developer. We don't know. But they're going to announce something to keep the momentum going. Yeah. And I know people are saying, like you just said, like, oh, they have one exclusive coming out this holiday season. They don't have enough. Well, Sony only has one exclusive too, right? Spider-Man.
Right.
It's just, you know, we just talked about the release dates and all the games coming out. I mean, what else can they release at a time in these months that is actually going to sell well?
Yeah, I mean, if Crackdown would have been the AAA game that I'm hoping it's going to be when I finally play it, it would have been destroyed.
Oh, it would have been annihilated. And that's when even when they said Forza was coming out, I was like, oh man, I don't know. But then they announced Forza Horizon had 9 million people buy that game, or play that game. Like, I was like, wow, Forza is actually a competitor. Like, you wonder why they make that game every 2 years or every year. Because it sells like crazy.
The cool thing about Forza, right? It sells like over time. Like, and it may not knock your socks off sales wise, like at release, but it continuously sell throughout its availability. And the thing about Forza Horizon 3, that it was being the best Forza Horizon game since, the hype will carry over to this game for it to have its bigger sales release. You know what I mean? I think it's gonna do. It has a lot of competition surrounding it, but I think you're gonna hear some rumblings out of Playground and Microsoft about its debut. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, I also think Forza Horizon 3 really got a boost from probably the best DLC I've ever bought.
Hot Wheels, right?
Yeah. Well, even the slow one, the mountain one, whatever.
Oh yeah,
but the Hot Wheels one, yeah, those two DLCs were just pure amazing, like almost just as good
Blizzard
as the
Mountain. It's what it was called.
Yeah, Blizzard Mountain. Thank you. And so all those like DLCs were just so amazing that they were almost like on par with the game.
Yes,
and it was like that's what really drove Forza to the next level, is that they brought you this amazing game and then they brought these DLCs that were just as good. And that's what Forza does, is that it has longevity so people can buy the game later. But this is a little different because this is going to have online the whole time.
Yep, right? You're going to be playing. You have the choice to play with, you know, drivatars or actual real people. That's amazing.
Yeah, and so it's like, I think they said 75 players on each server, or something like that.
It's
like
ridiculous.
That's gonna be just fun, man. Like they're gonna change it up, but I think in Gamescom we're gonna see a little bit more about Forza, and we're gonna see a little bit more about Sea of Thieves and State of Decay, and then the controller, and then maybe an announcement that they got another studio.
That'd be great. I mean,
that would be a solid. It would be
solid. Correct. Yeah, it would certainly be better than Shannon Loft is coming up there and talking about Zoo Tycoon is important to gaming. Just saying. Listen, I want to keep up with the Microsoft thing because, you know, I've talked about this. This xCloud technology that Microsoft is bringing to the next generation is not going away. And because I have a lot of Xbox guys on this panel, I want to talk to you personally, and then, you know, obviously get the opinion of the chat, which has been amazing today. Microsoft Executive Vice President of Gaming, Phil Spencer, touched on the plans to deliver its cloud-based xCloud gaming streaming platform. And according to him, Microsoft is committed to console quality gaming on any device, and its big promise, with many having tried and failed in the space, they're saying that the technology that they're going to be using will actually make you feel like you're playing a disc game. Now, according to what their article is saying, traditionally, such cloud gaming services meant that you needed a fantastic connection to the internet in order to avoid lag. But Thurrott.com is reporting that Microsoft has hit upon an intriguing technique to reduce latency, and what it's called, it's slicing. They're going to slice the game in half, literally, and the Azure servers are going to put it back together to remove that lag, to make you feel like you're playing a disc game. Now, this also was rumored to be $150 entry price to get yourself into the next Xbox. Now, I know a lot of us on the panel double dip because we have dens and you have kids. So if you have kids that play Xbox as much as you do, you don't want to be fighting with them for the system because they're their kids and they come first. But you still want to play your Gears 5, your Forza or whatever, and Halo Infinite, right? You still want to play that. This is a great opportunity for Microsoft to not only get people to double dip into the platform, but to get a lot of those PlayStation 4 people that were 360 players, left because of power. Now they can jump back in. Kid Smooth, I want to immediately go to you, dude. Listen, Microsoft is still reeling from the disappointment and the failure of Kinect 2.0. Again, it's one of those things that are going to go in gaming that you're never going to forget about. If Phil Spencer and the team at Redmond were not confident that they could pull this off, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Correct.
Do you have any excitement behind what we're talking about?
Yeah, I talked about this a little bit in my in one of the, I think last week's episode of Planet Xbox, and I wanted to do an in-depth video, but I just haven't really had the time. But I'm telling people, just like you said, we wouldn't be hearing about this if they haven't figured it out. And I felt like they figured it out. Like the whole thing, because a lot of people, when they hear about this cloud console, they're thinking about PlayStation Now, and this is not it. This is not play. This is beyond. This is going to be this is going to be legit. It's going to be cheap, legit. And I honestly, I don't associate this cloud console with next gen, and I have all the belief that this cloud console, this cloud movement, is coming out next fall.
I agree with you there.
I agree also.
I do too.
Because it's not taking in how I feel. It's like, because people thinking, well, they're gonna develop the games for it. No. Nope. There's no dedicated games going to this thing. It's gonna literally be like how you mentioned, right? How I envision it is like, I'm gonna have my Xbox One X, right? I'm gonna get this little $150, $200 box, and if I wanted to, I could put it in my kids' room, and I could have access to everything I already own on my Xbox.
Correct.
Just I'm streaming it instead of playing it natively. That's different, and it's gonna have a console experience, console quality. I'm not expecting 4K, probably 1080p and whatnot, but because it still has a dedicated box to do was it for collision and the input controls, it's not gonna be like the whole game is just streaming like how you're doing on PlayStation Now, where it's just you really don't need the box. Like on PlayStation Now, you're just literally doing that over networks, where the cloud console is literally doing half the work for you to eliminate that lag or that delay, and you're really getting a console like experience. And I feel like that's coming much sooner, because what I did notice about Microsoft, the E3 conference, is like, okay, not last year's E3, but the E3 in 2016, right? They talked about Project Scorpio, right? At the end of the day, ended the show with Project Scorpio, right?
Yep.
And it was a big thing for the following year. At the end of this year, right, they ended really with talking about the cloud services, their streaming console like streaming, right? Very vague, right? And then the next generation,
he did say consoles with an S.
Yes. And so I'm like, well, one of the two is happening next year. Next year is rumored to be a very, very big show. I don't know if you guys have been hearing that through the rumble.
Yes, I certainly have.
I've been hearing that a lot.
For many reasons. Could it be we're going to see some games from the newly acquired studios, or are we going to see some form of next generation? And my thing is a combination of both. Somebody from the acquired studios is going to bring a game, whether it be Ninja Theory. I think it's going to be them, and I think we're going to have an announcement and a release date for fall 2019 for the cloud console. They're going to explain that, and what it's going to do is going to be very cheap, and they may tease again Xbox 2, like the Xbox One X successor.
He'll do exactly what he did for the Xbox One. It will be a repeat performance of announcing the Xbox One S and then following it up. Like, next year, you're going to have this. That's what I think. Well, what do you call you have anything else, Smooth?
No. That's it. That's kind of really all I wanted to say about that.
Nice. Okay. Gaming Forte, dude, I want to go to you next, brother. This xCloud obviously is going to be a big deal. Like we were talking about cross-playing, cross-progression, cloud gaming is coming. A lot of people don't want to admit it because there are a lot of collectors and they feel like if they don't have the disc and box in their hand, they don't want no part of it. And that's fine. That's perfectly understandable. But technology doesn't wait for anyone. And it looks like Microsoft may be the one out of the gate first with a logistic, real deal streaming, box that's going to be cheap. Because, Microsoft has said they want an Xbox in everyone's home across the world, right? They want everyone to have one, and $100 to $150 price point could make that happen. What are your thoughts on what we're talking about?
Personally, I think, like you just said, the price is the number one thing. When it comes to this system, I can see a lot of people adopting it, even myself, just because as of right now, I have 2 Xbox One X's in my house. Nice. One in the living room, one in my game room. If this streaming system is what I want it to be, I can eliminate one of those Xbox One X's in my house and literally put it in my living room because I don't play out there much. I mostly use it just when I'm out there and I just want to sit out there with the family and play with them. And that can literally change the dynamic for a lot of people. A lot of people are going to sit here and probably talk about how, well, data caps are still a problem and everything. Well, I think the people that will have an issue with data caps the system won't be for them. But there's a lot of people out here, myself included, that have no issues with either paying for the extra data because we watch mostly everything we consume as of right now, we do through the internet. So either you're paying for the data caps and you're actually, overcoming those with increased money that you're putting towards it, or you have unlimited and you can do whatever you want. There's millions upon millions of people that have that option. And this is just another option that Microsoft is giving those people. People keep forgetting that, hey, there is still another version of the system coming out that will allow you to play all of those games. Right. And if you like to be a collector like I am, I'm going to have both of them. I'm going to have, yes. And why would you want to pack up the Xbox One X is still heavy. It's like 12 pounds. But why would you want to pack that up and take it to a friend's house or take it to a hotel when I could just take this streaming box?
So you can put that streaming box in your pocket like your phone.
Exactly. So I can see a lot of people, even the people that's saying that's not for me. Once Microsoft announces this and releases it, a lot of people are just on curiosity alone go want to see what this is like, because $150 for something it's a lot of money for some people, but for the people that Microsoft is marketing this towards, a majority of those people are going to go out and actually get it. And if it actually stands up to the test of time of actually low latency, no input lag or anything like that, Microsoft has something that really can be super successful. And I agree with everybody when they say Microsoft is going to bring this out first. There's no reason for them to bring these out in tandem with each other because the physical platform, which comes to disc and everything, will outsell it, and no one will even think about the streaming side. Microsoft's they're gonna release this, and they're gonna use it as a litmus test before the new system even releases, and that's a good way for people to double dip, because if Microsoft releases a new platform and you can stream on it, all of us, we're going to go out and get that, and then we're going to go out the next year and get the new system.
Damn right.
So anybody that says they're not going to do it, if Microsoft releases it next year, you're going to go out and get it just for curiosity's sake alone.
Right. No doubt about that for sure. Great points, dude. Really great points. Daz, I want to go to you next, dude. $100 to $150 for a streaming box that does everything that your X is currently doing is a big deal, and it could potentially be like, how like the NES Classic was the hottest selling thing that particular holiday. This could be the hottest selling thing whenever they release it, because of the price and because of the value you're getting behind it. What is your take on them eventually going to the X Cloud for this streaming service?
Yeah, I think it's a huge announcement that they've done and what they're doing. Like you say, it's going to help a lot of people out money-wise. At the end of the day, it's going to be a choice. You don't have to buy it. You know what I mean? The only issue I have is with parents who have not got a clue about streaming. They'll go out and buy the console because they won't have any idea what an xCloud streaming device is. About like that. But that's where they might lose a bit. But obviously, the majority of us will know what it is. But and personally, I unless I see what it actually does, like none of us know till we see it.
Correct. Right.
What it performs like. If it performs as good as the X, I'm all for it, mate. You know what I mean? It's like either way, I'm for it anyway for other people and that. But I prefer my physical console. But if it does exactly what my X will do and it's smaller, frees more space up, I'm getting it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I'm probably gonna get it anyway. I'm expecting big things. Zolka,
yeah, I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not gonna go buy it for the sake of it. I want to see what it can do. No.
Obviously, you wouldn't just throw $150 out the window just to say you have it. But if it does, you know, again, for some people, it may just be a good way to involve their family in gaming without making it, because nobody wants to go and spend $1,000 on two X's.
Exactly, yeah. Even if it don't perform 4K for children, it don't matter because they won't know what 4K. They won't know what 4K is. They won't know what terabytes are. Blah blah blah. So it'll be ideal for kids.
They're going to be playing Fortnite on it anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it don't matter. Yeah, they watch it on the Fire Stick anyway. So what's the difference?
Nice. Well, good points, dude. Zolker, I want to go to you last on this one. I think they're betting big on the xCloud. I think Microsoft, you know, we know that they like to do things first. We know that sometimes they fail, but like I said, because of what how Kinect failed for them, I don't think you're ever going to see that ever happen again. You know, they're in it to win it big, and they're in it to win it bigger in the next generation. Do you think that this xCloud technology is something we're going to see sooner than later? And more so, do you think it's going to be successful?
Actually, I think this is a lot more, whatchamacallit, I think it's a lot more important than people realize. If you remember back, you know, a couple years ago where they showed Crackdown 3 with the Azure cloud and the destruction,
yes, right,
and how they haven't shown that. That was actually a black mark for Xbox and Microsoft.
Correct. Yep.
That showed that their technology and their servers weren't a big thing. And Microsoft got mad at Xbox, the division, because the Azure servers are their most profitable thing in the entire company.
Correct.
And for them to have basically a black mark on the servers because of a game, they don't give a crap about Crackdown 3, to be honest. They don't care if that game's successful, you know, encompassing Microsoft. They care about their servers looking good against Amazon. And so for that to happen, it was a very harsh reality for Microsoft to face. And then for them to come out in 2017, years later, and talk about a streaming service, like Kid Smooth said, they have this down. And this is technology we have never seen. So it's hard for us to talk about because they're the only one, they're the forefront for this technology, the streaming service for gaming. And they said it's going to be just as powerful as the X and it's going to be $150. This is a huge deal within the tech industry. But not only that, it's a huge deal for gamers because it's going to get the Streambox into millions of hands. People are going to buy that for $100-$150. Are you kidding me? People are just going to grab it. And that's and I think I said this on last week when I was talking to you, Boom. Xbox lost this generation. Let's just be honest.
Yep.
And it was probably the worst generation to lose because of the digital market that's happening now.
Yes.
People have digital libraries, especially on PlayStation. So this is a way for Microsoft to get those PlayStation users back to Xbox because there's still a lot of Xbox 360 users out there. And they want those people and the people that went to PlayStation to come back. And the only way to compete against Sony for a gamer's perspective is to use what you have the best of, which is software.
Yep.
And that's what Xbox has in spades.
Yes.
They outdo PlayStation and Sony software-wise. Like, it's not even a competition. There's not even comparable. And so that's how you combat basically the lead that Sony has gotten. And that's how you get next generation kicked off, is you bring this streaming console next fall, like Smooth said. We all agree that we think it's coming out. And you have that out there for a year and you have people buy it because it's cheap. And then they start building their digital library and then they use Game Pass and then they just get in the ecosystem. And that's how you make the most money. They don't make money off of hardware sales. They make money off of software sales.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, obviously their services are a big deal.
Yeah. So They're not they were vague about it this year about like streaming service, but this is so big that it literally not only combats Sony, it takes on Nintendo head on too, because they said it streams to your phone, it streams to your tablet. You have your mobile thing right there. Everybody has a phone, and you're going to be able to play Xbox games on your phone. And you just Bluetooth your controller to it. Like just like that's everything that they.
Yeah, it's bananas. It's literally it's creating the Switch without creating the Switch.
Yeah, they just go and they're basically attacking every avenue of gaming with this single box. And then not to mention they're not ignoring their hardcore with the huge box coming out maybe a year later, right?
Right. So, the traditional box is always going to be there underneath your TV. There's no, they're never going to box it out. But having a cheaper option to get more people invested in the platform is a smart move.
Yeah, and this, like, kids that are 12, 13 years old, when PlayStation 5 or the new Xbox comes out, a parent goes in to Target or wherever the hell they go to, Walmart, and it's like, yeah, your kid wants the system. Well, we have this $100, $150 system, and then if you pay $10, you get 100, 200 games with it. Like, are you kidding me? Like, people are just going to swarm to that.
Yeah, I agree.
Kids are going to be able to play their game, and I think Daz said that he thinks that parents are not going to really understand the streaming thing. I actually give people a lot more credit. People do know what streaming is. I mean, Netflix has been huge, Hulu, all these things. People understand what a streaming box is.
HBO Go and things of that nature.
Go, Amazon Fire, the Chrome, like all these things. Google has their streaming. It's pretty wide known now, and this is just a huge indication that Microsoft is attacking that field and putting those resources into gaming. I mean, I think we're going to uncharted territory in gaming.
Yep.
And I think it's going to be a show for everybody. I think it's just going to be a great time.
Wow. Listen, I cannot thank the panel enough. I mean, we got to every topic I had, and we all and you guys just literally knocked it out of the park. We're coming up on 2 hours, and of course, I want to make sure that everyone has a proper outro because you guys all deserve it. I just want to first start off by saying anyone that donated to the super chat, that is a big deal for me. I'm a new channel. I'm growing. I want to eventually offer giveaways. Right now, I just cannot do it. So the super chats will definitely help with that. So thank you. The chat once again. Love everyone in the chat. You guys show up every week, and you're so cordial with one another, and you talk, and it's all friendly on there, and that's the way I like it. But of course, I like I said, I want to give a proper outro to everyone on the panel because you guys are what make the show go. If I didn't have guests to bring on and people that trusted me that they were going to be put in the best light, then there wouldn't be a breakfast with Boom. So I'm going to start with Kid Smooth. Dude, listen, I'm a big fan of yours. We worked together once before on the Weapon Wheel. We had a good time there. I think that you are an Xbox gamer through and through, but you don't talk nonsense. You do defend on Twitter. I do give you a lot of credit for that because there are a lot of real nasty people on there, and you do shut people down. So great work. But tell everyone where they could find you on Twitter and where they can come and subscribe to your channel because I think you do good work.
Yeah, you can. Thanks, BoomStick, once again for having me. I can be found on Twitter, trying to once again in the same week work towards 4,000 followers on Twitter. Right now, I'm at 3,979. So if you want to just get like the daily stuff that gets people up in arms and some cold hard truths, follow me on Twitter because I tell the story people don't want to tell you. And if you want to, get my video content, podcasting content, you can go to Kid Smooth on YouTube. I'm working towards 8,000 subs. Nice. And my Twitter is at Kid Smooth as well. So everything's Kid Smooth across the board. But thanks again for having me, Mr. BoomStick.
Oh, absolutely. And I definitely got to pop on your show. We got to, talk Xbox in the future. Zolker, I want to go to you next, dude. First of all, it's super early where you were. So you coming on the show is a big deal for me personally. And I honestly cannot thank you enough for that. And you know what? We had a great conversation last Saturday on PTK's show, and we had an even better one today. I think you're the real deal. I love the way that you speak about the industry. You talk from experience. Please tell everyone where they can find you, and congratulations on being a new member of the Shop Podcast. That's a big deal.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much, and thanks for having me on. And yeah, the guys over at the Shop Podcast are just awesome. We have great chemistry. They're just really cool, down to earth guys, knowledgeable. They love gaming. We have a great time, man. Honestly, like it was just an instant fit right away. But yeah, coming on here this early, I mean, it was no problem, buddy. Honestly, it was a great time. Of course, I wanted to be on here. I love what you do. I've listened to a bunch of podcasts. Everybody on here was just awesome. We had a great show. You can find me on Twitter at Shocked87. And of course, my YouTube channel, just Google Zalker87, Zalker 87. I'm pretty new to the community, but like I've said before, I'm not new to gaming. I love the industry. I love tech. I have a background in it. So this is what I like talking about. And, you know, anytime you want me on, I'll be on. Anytime anybody else wants to contact me and just talk gaming, please hit me up or just want a game.
Awesome.
I enjoy it, man. So thanks for having us on. And this is just, it's just been a great show, man. Like, honestly, it was very energetic. It was a lot of fun. Everybody was very friendly in the chat. It was a good time, man. Honestly.
I appreciate that very much. UK Dazarus, my brother from across the pond, which I eventually have to crack a beer with.
Yes.
Listen, you're on your march to try and get to 1,000 subs. What a lot of people don't know about what you do for this community is that you moderate at least a dozen shows, and you are as legit as they come. You don't accept any kind of racist bullshit that goes on. You shut people down in a way that's respectful. And you know what? The community needs to know more about that because as you saw yesterday on the Dragon X podcast, unfortunately, trolls do find their way in, and they could ruin the flow of a show, especially when they start talking, you know, nonsense. None of us, we play games to have fun. No one wants to talk about being racist or sexist or anything like that. So you have a good knack of shutting that down. And not to mention, you do run your own YouTube channel, which is fantastic. You're part of the Retro Renegades, which is an incredible show. And you do a lot of Forza and racing videos. Tell everyone where they not only could find you on Twitter, but, you know, subscribe to your channel.
Yeah, cheers, Boom. Pleasure to be on the Breakfast with Boom anytime, bro. Yeah, thanks for the awesome outro. Awesome. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at UK Dazarus. You know you've got the right one because it says moderator of the universe on it. Or have I got to change that from a year to a universe? I don't know. Yeah, and if you do get yourself banned from a channel, feel privileged that you got banned from the moderator of the universe. Yeah, just thought I'd get that out. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can find me at YouTube. Just search UK Dazarus or click on the avatar in this chat. Yeah, I do a lot of Forza Community Challenge videos. I've Stick Figure, Sticky Baby is concentrating mainly on Forza 7 now. So I've set my own channel, well, my own club up, Forza Horizon Challenge, which will include the forthcoming Forza Horizon 4, where we're going to knock it out of the show. And to all these 75 guys in the same race as UK does, expect to see my license plate a lot because you will be behind me. You know what I mean? Yeah, well, I do a lot of retro stuff as well. I do my Retro Tuesdays, which I'm working on to try and ump the videos a bit more. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Nice, great work, dude. Listen, I love your confidence, but eventually I'm gonna have to beat you in the race.
Before we go any further, yeah, you can also find me on Xbox Live, UK Dazarus, or the Dazinator. Yes. And the Dazinator at the moment is on top of that leaderboard with 10k plus. So come on, bring it on, boys and girls.
Oh man, I don't think anyone's beating you with a 10k gamer score for this month. Listen, last but certainly not least is a good friend of mine. We became friends the last time I did a show with him. Gaming Forte, listen, I love your work, man. I love how honest you are. You're very well spoken. You love the industry. You love Xbox, but you're a community dude, and that's great. And I think you deserve to have the followers. I think you deserve to have the fame that comes with it. Tell everyone where they can find you on Twitter and subscribe to your channel, dude.
All right, man. Well, as usual, you make me blush every time I'm in here because you make me feel better than I actually am. But no, I appreciate the invite as always. Always looking forward to always being here with you guys. Second time I've been here with Smooth. I do PTK with Zalk every other week. So Dazarus, really nice to finally meet you, man. See you always in.
You too, bro.
Putting that work in. Definitely appreciate that. But guys, you can find me over on YouTube at Gaming Forte. I do lots of videos on Division, Destiny, pretty much every looter shooter. When Anthem comes out, we'll be doing that too. And then throwing that Xbox news on top of it. right now we're in the throes of Destiny because that's the game. I love that game so much. So if you like that game, come over to the channel, see what's going on over there. And then just follow me on Twitter at gaming_forte. And dude, catch me on the Scumcast. We're on there every other week whenever Luca decides to do a video.
Nice. Very nice. Well, listen, once again, thank you for the chat, for everyone watching. We had almost 100 watching. That is a big deal for me.
Yes, it is.
You know, I mean, it's, you know, it's a small channel. It is growing, but it can't grow without the help of the community. So the community has been behind me big time. I cannot thank them enough. And of course, once again, a big thank you to my incredible panel. Everyone came out, did an amazing job. I want to wish everyone a fantastic weekend, and I will see everyone on next week's Breakfast with Boom. Later, everyone.
Later,
Later, guys.
Everybody.